So, Broski is showering. That makes it very loud in here. I don't think it's actually that loud, but I can't hear a thing. So here we are talking at full volume at almost 1 in the morning for once. Progress is not being made. This is a one-time thing. Oh, the snark is real. I'm sorry. Anyway, I have one theme for tonight, and that is the theme of belonging. I was talking to my pastor's wife after church today, updating her on how everything had went with the letter, because she hadn't talked to me since that happened, and she'd been really worried, and I felt bad because there wasn't really a good way to update her before that, so I just filled her in. But we started talking about how hard it is for me at this point in my life to go back to the church that I grew up in. Not because I don't care about the people there, but because I don't really belong there anymore. Nor do I fit there at all. And it's gotten to the point where when I do set foot in those doors, the eagerness that I used to feel to seek out certain people has diminished. And that took a long time. In fact, it probably didn't really happen until the last couple of times I've been home. But given that I'm rarely at that church anymore, that I find every reason to be at Renew ever, going home now has a different connotation, because going home does not equal going home and to church. It just equals going home. And I was talking to her about why it feels that way. You know, the identity question is still private enough that that's not as much of an issue in this setting, but I know who I am, and I know that I don't fit. I don't fit what they believe is right. I don't fit what they believe is good. And no matter what people in that circumstance tell me, I know that I'm not welcome to continue being who I am. I have to be seeking a change in order to be fully accepted in that community. And I know that because that is how I used to think. So when I speak for those people, I speak as someone who understands the way they used to think, the way I used to think. I don't think that way anymore. I can't. And so as I was explaining that to her, my pastor's wife was just standing there. Her jaw just kept dropping. Because to tell someone who has never been a part of a church community that specifically was treating someone from the queer community in a certain way, or has not been a participating member in something like that, just watching the reaction to all of that, it hit me like no matter what happens at Renew, when I am actually fully out, I know that I'm safe there, and I know that I'm welcome there to continue to serve and love people and lead. That's not going to change. And at a certain point, my pastor's wife looks at me and she just says, "Our family needs you around. Our community needs you around." And it was like, I can hear that so many times, and it never stops meaning as much as it did in that moment. To be told I'm wanted and needed. Part of it's a personality thing, but part of it is just deconstructing so many months and years of telling myself that if I acknowledged what I felt inside, that I would no longer be wanted or needed by so many people. And that's something that I don't often just say, because it's easier to just sweep it under the rug and pretend that I don't feel that way anymore. But there are times that I still wonder. When I think about going home and then going to that church I grew up in, walking the halls where I learned how to be a person. I walk those halls and I think about all of the times that those questions of identity were in the back of my mind, but I never would have acknowledged them, and I never would have found them as actual words to speak. Because it wasn't safe to do that. It wasn't even a possibility to consider it. Now I'm here, and all I do is consider these questions and live into the answers that I find. I'm just constantly blown away by how different it can be, how free I can be. And the confidence that I carry myself with as a queer person who loves Jesus. That confidence is only here because I have rested in the peace that I find in that identity. The peace had to come before the confidence. And here I am. And this is definitely the most confident I've ever been just talking about it. The most obvious I've been ever talking about it. The loudest I've ever been talking about it. And this is the new normal. And wow, it feels good. It feels so good to be me. To embrace it with love for who that me is. It's incredible.